Hello everybody from a very windy Wyoming. You'll probably hear the house creaking and the wind blowing in the background because it's gnarly out there. Anyway, thank you for a good session Friday when we talked about the Bird's personality assessment. As you know, you're supposed to do that reflection and then turn it in before class next Friday, February 9th. So, lots of great information that you can tie that to. I've seen people use it for conflict management, like we talked about in class, for self-awareness, which is why I put it in Chapter 2, and other, like dealing with coworkers and advancement, and essentially, how are you aware of yourself, and then how do you work with others and communicate them in a way that they understand. So that was looking back last week. I am going to work on getting your grades in, so keep an eye out for information. And several of you have redone assignments. Thank you for that. I'll get those graded as well and get that feedback turned around to you. I noticed that some of you haven't been able to make it to class on Fridays, so if you could please work to do that. You're losing points, and so that only does you harm. So if you want to make a point of coming to class on Friday, that would be great. And then I'll get to see you. That'd be good. All right, so moving on to this next coming week. You will see that I have uploaded a discussion point. I'm going to run it similar like we did last time. So by Tuesday the 6th at 11:30 p.m. Sorry, after Tuesday, February 6th. Did I say November? Okay, I don't remember what I said. February 6th, after 11:30 p.m., excuse me, I want you to put an original post about attachment styles. I'll talk about that here in a minute. And then wait a brief time, and then after Thursday at noon, I want you to go back, read other people's comments and their posts, and then comment. You can respond back to them. I like this interaction, and because we're not meeting face to face other than once a week, it's still good to go in and have a conversation with your classmates. So go ahead and do that. All right, so when it comes to attachment styles, I find this really interesting, and I have the assignment that you're supposed to do: read the book and then look for a fiction or nonfiction character that exemplifies these or illustrates these attachment styles. For example, so I have, and I will upload this for you so that you can see it better. Ooh, let's center it correctly. There we go. So I have information that I have picked from the Charlie Brown characters on people who have different attachment styles. So you will see that Peppermint Patty has a secure attachment style, which means she is high proximity and low level of anxiety. And so that helps her be secure. She's not nervous about meeting people, and she can rely on herself. Now you'll also see on this diagram, I have written at the top of the page, view of self, and then on the side of the page with the high and low. And then on the side of the page, I put view from others. And I find this helps me relate to attachment styles better as well. And so with that being said, if we go back to Peppermint Patty, you will see that she has a high view of herself, and other people pretty much agree. Mm-hmm. She doesn't get derailed by things very often. She just pushes forward and she goes from there. You will see that Lucy Van Pelt is high proximity thinking. She has a need to be around other people, but she also has some high anxiety. And I've had other students push back on this and says, no, she doesn't. But she comes across with her need to be around other people, maybe a little too aggressive. I'm thinking of her example with trying to get people to pay her a nickel for advice. You know, she's definitely seeking that, nervous that people aren't going to pay attention. Her view of herself then, not as high as Peppermint Patty. She has some insecurities going on, and other people are like, no, you're fine, you're good. But deep down, I think that Lucy is thinking, yeah, you just wait till you get to know me. And I'm sure you've seen people that are like that, where they you think that they're amazing, but they just don't quite believe you. And so how does that come across in their communication and their interactions? If you move down to Schroeder, he thinks he's pretty cool. You know what? I'm here playing my piano. I don't need anybody. And so because of that, he comes across a little distant or dismissive. And I've also seen people, I think your book talks about People that don't really get involved in relationships, the more like one-night stands or casual relationships where they really have learned to rely on themselves. That doesn't have to be a bad thing until it starts pushing other people away. And so they might think they're all that in a bag of chips, but then again, because of that extra confidence or arrogance, then other people are like, nah, I'm really not buying it. And then you get Charlie Brown down there in the bottom where he has a negative view of himself and other people are like, yeah. So go back to when the book talked about self-fulfilling prophecy, and pretty much sabotages his own relationships. So he doesn't believe it, and everybody kind of says, okay, yeah, that's true. There's some things going on. So that is my example of some characters, and of course they're cartoons. That's my example of attachment styles as represented in Charlie Brown characters. And what I'm wanting you to do, you don't have to do all four. I think I put find a character, at least one. 2 would be good, but at least one. Extra credit if you can upload pictures to go with it. But find a character that you think exemplifies or illustrates one of these attachment styles, and then tell me why. So explain why. And then later in the week, then you'll go on and you will say, wow, I never really thought about it. That's true. And other examples, maybe Walter White from Breaking Bad. What attachment style do you think? On the same vein, Jesse, his sidekick, what kind of attachment style does he have? You can also even address, do you think that their attachment styles has changed? So if we go back to our diagram, how many of you have been somewhere and then you've moved through different levels? So maybe you had it all going on, went through a horrible breakup, and now sunk to somewhere else. And so maybe you are a little anxious, a little gun show, a little preoccupied with your attachment styles, and then you have to learn to trust again, and then move from there. And I've seen people move through these different phases in their life. And so if you want to address that when you do your posts, that would be awesome. So again, on Tuesday after 11:30, so spend the time between now and then finding a character, and then on Thursday afternoon go ahead and respond to other people, and then I will of course be on and respond as well. So there is that. And then the only assignment you have due next Friday, you do not have a reading synopsis due. We're going to spend this week on Chapter 2, so the only assignment you have due is that bird's personality assessment. If you happen to miss class on Friday and you're like, I don't even know what bird I am, yeah, probably not. So shoot me an email. I'll give you the information, and then we can go from there. Great class, great conversation. Thanks for all your work, and I will check in with you later. Bye.